is in the front row. Oh, and there's Brendan Patrice. You know, I always feel bad when I don't say hi to everybody because I don't remember everyone's name. If you want me to know your name, you have to take classes. Because once you take a class, then I get to know you. Or volunteer. Or donate a big check, I'll know your name. That's a good one. Okay, I know I'm on. Hi, people from all over the world. We are here to teach you to awaken to your magnificence and to realize that life is divine. And I just love having artists in the audience, so I just really want to acknowledge Eve, who does these beautiful coasters and purses and art all over the world. And you have to go online and on Facebook and see your stuff. And maybe one day we'll have a whole table of just everything you make. And we have another artist who has been actually in shows lately and winning awards all over Missouri and Illinois. Brenda Frazier, will you stand up so we can acknowledge you? You're doing wonderful thing, and I have 2 of your pieces. Every year I was the minister here, they were going to give me one of her pieces. Well, they did for 2 years, and then whoever was in charge of that committee. Yeah, now I'm here almost 20 years. Isn't that crazy? Oh, anyway, I have 2 to remember the 2 years by. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here today. It's a very special celebration. We have Reverend Dr. Larry DeRusha who will be speaking. And I love the title he's going to be speaking is called, That Just Blew My Mind. Actually, he gets most of this month because the whole theme is on minding the mind. And since Larry's a quantum physicist and all that, minding the mind really kind of worked with him. My Sunday, the mind is in the heart. So we'll talk about that on the Sunday I'm speaking. Anyway, I'm just glad that you're here today. We have a few announcements, and I'm going to have Tom Moore come up and let you know what's going on. Thanks, Tom.
Good morning. Okay, there's a bunch going on. We went kind of quiet there for a while, but man, stuff is popping. Let's see. Marshall Walton is going to be presenting the class From Whence We Came. It's a 10-week class starting Tuesday, June 7th. That's like a couple days from now, from 6 to 9 p.m. It's all about the ideas and principles that gave birth to the New Thought movement and our philosophy as part of that. You can sign up in the bookstore. Marshall, you want to say anything about it? Where are you?
Hey, okay. Today is your last chance to sign up for class. We're shutting it down at the end of service today. It's going to be a really fun, interesting, growth-filled class. We're going to spend, one of the names of the class that it's also known as is called Roots. And we'll talk about the roots of New Thought, the ethical roots, the biblical roots, the creative roots, the healing roots. And we'll start off with what is New Thought, then we'll spend a few weeks studying and learning about the philosophy of Dr. Ernest Holmes, which we're all pretty familiar with, but then how did he get there? We'll go back to the giants that he stood on, Thomas Trord and Emma Curtis Hopkins and Ralph Waldo Emerson, and we'll do some reading and studying about their works and their philosophies and how Ernest kind of blended all of that together. So it's really going to be a fun class. I'm excited about it. And you can sign up in the Rising Thought bookstore. It's only $200, and that's just $20 a week. It's a 10-week class, so you can afford that. Yeah, that's a good deal. $50 down saves your place. We do have payment plans available, so would love to see you on Tuesday night. Thanks.
Thanks, Marsha. Okay, you may have heard about this. We're going to have a fantastic music and dance festival benefiting Ukraine on Saturday, June 25th, 1 o'clock to 7 p.m. It's going to be out back. We won't have any parking back there. It's going to fill up the lot. Bring lawn chairs. We're going to have food available. The tickets are $25. That's available in the bookstore or on the website. Pardon? Yeah. Right. There's no skim off the top. It's 100% going to Ukraine.
Library and high school and along this street. I don't know. Oh, right, the back part of the library, people want to use it.
Yeah.
And across the street at the school.
Yeah, the school, the library.
7 and under are free.
Cool. Yes, lots of it. We have flyers out there in the lobby that tell you more than I can say now, because there's a whole lot of people going to be performing. People we've had here, people you know, and people that you may not know. So let's see. So bring your friends, and we need volunteers to help. There's going to be a lot of, setup and ticket sales and beverage sales and that sort of thing. And we've got sign-up sheets out there in the lobby on the same table that the flyer is on. Let's see, there are 2-hour slots. We're looking for 6 people for each of those slots. And then we have an additional one for cleanup afterwards for a couple hours. If you want to come Friday, there's a lot we can do to prepare. There's a bunch of stuff here. If you want to be trained on using the credit card machine for like selling things out there, then let Mary Jean know, or anybody who knows how to do that. And David is going to tell us something about this too. Yeah. He's our point guy on Ukraine.
Yeah, I didn't go to the meeting when they were assigning things, so they put me in charge of more stuff than I would have agreed to. But that's okay. But a week before that, on the 18th at 9 o'clock, I'd like to garner up my yard angels to do a spruce up, a clean up, and I saw there's some pretty large branches that need some sprucing that are falling. And of course, my usual cohorts there, we got Carlos Shear and Tim Lilly. They usually show up regardless of if I invite them or not, and we love it. So anyway, the week before it, let's be proud and really spruce the place up on the 18th. And I have a lot of your phone numbers, and you're probably going to get a text. So.
Cool. Thanks, David. Okay, Reverend Larry also has a class coming up, Living the Untethered Life, from the book by Michael Singers, starting Monday, June 27th for 4 weeks, 4:30 to 6:30. It's online, it's Zoom, and you can sign up online. And Larry, do you want to tell us about it? Are you here? Your wife told me to do that. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, good morning. Good morning. Take a breath so I can. How many of you know of Michael Singer? Yeah, look at this. The whole house knows. So his new book is out. It's called Living Untethered. And it's all of the various information you wanted to know about how to actually put into practice what he writes about. So he goes through various levels of learning. He talks about levels of consciousness. He gives us practices to do. It's a pretty big book, but each chapter is only about 100 pages. But anyway, we'll read before the class, and then during the class, it's question and answers and exercises. So it's on Zoom, so there's no excuse. It's only $7,000 for the class? The time is 4:30 to 6:30, and it's $200, I think is what it is. Okay, 160? Did we go down more? I'll sell it to you for 100. Thanks.
Yes. Online, yeah. Okay, all you goddesses out there, if you did that women's retreat on Thursday, if you did that retreat Thursday, June 16th at 7 o'clock, there's a regathering of all the folks who were involved with that retreat. And if you happen to be in the 2019 retreat, goddess retreat, you can also join in this regathering. Please sign up in the lobby or text Reverend Mary Jean. Next week, Sunday is our Connection Sunday. It's a potluck day, so we can all socialize and eat back there in Scott Hall. I know we all like to do that. It's the second Sunday of every month. Please bring a dish so that we can get together and connect back there in Scott Hall. Please sign up to help in the kitchen that day. There's a sign up out there for that. And as long as we're being in service, we need help in the bookstore. Christine has left for her other home back in Montana for about half a year. And so it's just for second and third Sundays for only half an hour from 12 to 12:30. And Michelle Conley Brown will train you if you don't already know how to do all that stuff. For a short time, we have 4 coasters by the famous artist, Eve Maltzman, that you heard about earlier. They're out in the lobby. They're just $20, and there's no shipping involved if you buy it while Eve is here. Also, we have some African violets donated by Karen Conley. That's Michelle's mom. They're just $5, and they're out in the lobby. And see Michelle if you can't find them. They're small. We have still some bracelets for Ukraine, like these, in the bookstore.
Small sizes.
Pardon?
Small sizes.
Yeah, just small sizes? That's all we have? Okay. And they stretch, though. And let's see, where are we? And yeah, it's all for benefiting Ukraine, also helps the refugees. Anybody here for the first time? We have a gift for you. Hey, there we go. Cool. You don't have to stand up and tell us your biography or anything. All right. Back to our program.
Hello, everyone. My name's Debbie. I'm a member of the prayer team, and I'm going to get us started with our opening prayer. And then afterwards, I'll be over there if you need a little quick prayer after the service. Find me, okay? So let's get ready to pray. I invite you to take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. Close your eyes and just bring your attention right now to this present moment. Let go of what you were doing when you came in or what you were thinking about. And just be here now, right now, in this present moment. Because this is where we meet God. God is in the present moment. And each one of us is a being of light, a child of God. And we're living in God's universe of love and light and joy and bliss. We are children of the light, children of God. And we know that God is all there is. God is the source of all. God is the one power, the one presence in the universe. God is all manner of goodness. And the fullness and wholeness of God is present in every particle of the universe and every particle of, of us. Every particle of our beingness is made of God. And we can turn within at any point and find God. So I invite you now to bring your attention to your heart area. Feel the love and light and joy and bliss that lives there. Just let yourself, your whole beingness, fall down into your heart area and feel the bliss and joy of God that lives there. We live and we move and we have our being in God. We live in God's love and light and joy and bliss. And the more we turn within, the more we know that, and the more that we can bring forth the presence of God. So let's do that now. Just go deep within your heart and feel the presence of God, and let that presence come forth. Let that presence fill your beingness. Fill your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit. That presence is who you are. It's what you are. We are, each one of us, one with the Christ presence of God, the Christ consciousness, which is a consciousness, not a person. And the Christ consciousness is very empowering. So turn within right now and just feel that presence of the Christ that lives within you, and let it flow. Let it heal you. Let it empower you. Just be the Christ presence of God. And I see the spiritual perfection of each one of us right now, the same way that Jesus saw the spiritual perfection of those that he healed. He saw it with such an intensity and such a deep, strong faith that the people could not help but be healed. Their spiritual truth was just brought forth, and the illusion of illness was just shattered. I invite you now to see your own self, see your own spiritual perfection in the same way that Jesus saw the spiritual perfection of the people he healed. Feel the love, the light, the joy, the bliss that is your spiritual perfection, and let it come forth right now. And I know that each one of us, as we do this, we are healed. We bring forth God's wholeness and love and light and joy and bliss. We bring forth prosperity and wealth and abundance. We bring forth perfect relationships, harmony and peace. We bring forth the all goodness of God, because that is what we are. We are the presence of God. We live in the presence of God, and we bring forth the presence of God right here, right now. We let it flow. And we are healed in it. And we send that presence out to be a healing force in this world. And we know that all is well because God is in charge of the world. God is the world, and we are the presence of God in the world. We are God expressing God's self as each one of us here on this earth plane. And we let God's wonderful, loving presence flow out from us and heal our lives and be a healing force in the world. And for this, God, we thank you. We thank you for healing love and light and energy in this world. We thank you for healing us all right now. All of us in this chapel and all of us listening online, we thank you for healing us, God. We are grateful, God. And so, God, I turn everything over to you, and so we say together, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you very much. Wasn't that beautiful? So the thought for the day, you can read it also, but it says, Jesus said, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" Ernest Holmes said, "Children are happy because they have not learned to be afraid. There can be no happiness where fear is." Ooh, those are good. So I want to introduce our music for today. Some of you have seen him and heard him, and some of you haven't. He hails from Barra de Navidad, Mexico, where I spent 6 weeks in January with Larry and Marcia. And he's one of my favorite singers in the whole world because I'm learning Spanish. And I only know a few of the words, but I'm still learning. Duolingo is teaching me a little bit. So let's give a St. Louis welcome to Emerson.
She's really good for Spanish. Okay, we're gonna start this morning with Bossa Nova song. We're gonna play Bossa Nova. You like Bossa Nova? It's a beautiful song by Antonio Carlos Jobim from Brazil. It's called Corcovado. The song Frank Sinatra sing before that song, and a lot of artists, and they call Quiet Nights. You remember the song Quiet Nights? It's Corcovado. So do we have a ocean sound? No? No? Just imagine the ocean sound. Cantinho coração pra família vai cansar da janela o Corcovado. Quero vida sempre assim, com você perto de mim, mate o apagão da vela chama. Eu que era triste, descrente deste mundo, ao encontrar você eu conheci. Oh, que felicidade, meu amor. Eu que era triste, descrente deste mundo, ao encontrar você eu conheci. Oh, que felicidade, meu amor. Eu que era triste, descrente deste mundo, ao encontrar você eu conheci. Oh, que felicidade, meu amor, meu amor. Azul, la mañana es azul. El sol, si le llamo, vendrá. Se perderá mi voz y hasta la eternidad en su camino irá hacia otro azul. Después yo no sé si hay después, si el sol volverá a despertar, porque la canción no ha de ser verdad, porque encarnaba. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emerson. And now for today's speaker, who is also our streaming genius, because Jake is out of town today, I would like you to welcome with me Reverend Dr. Larry Duresha.
Thank you. Ooh. Good morning. Stand up. Everybody stand up. Greet somebody near you. Just say hello. How are you? Good to see you. Greet somebody you haven't known. Yeah, somebody you haven't known. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, how are you? Hi, great to meet you. Yay. All right. Okay, let's let the party begin. All right, come on back. All right, have a seat. Yay. Yay. Love the crowd, huh? Good, good, good. Thank you. Perfecto. See. All right. This quote, I want to start with this quote, and I'm going to change my whole talk around because I like to do that. Children are happy because they have not learned to be afraid. There can be no happiness where there is fear. Isn't that powerful? All right, now let me take you on a little journey through my slides. This is Jonah and Dylan. How many of you are aware of this story? Yeah, I wasn't either. I found it this morning about 15 minutes before we left. Jonah, the boy on the left, has a great friend called Dylan. They met at 6 years old, and they've been fast friends. And after probably a year or so, Dylan noticed that Jonah was constantly pricking his toe. And the reason Jonah said, was because I have a disease. And I have to check my blood constantly. I have to go to the doctor 3 times a week. Sometimes I'm in the hospital. Sometimes I'm in ICU. Dylan said, well, why don't they have a cure? And Jonah said, well, there's only a few of us that have this disease, so there's no money for research. That bothered Dylan. So he went home and he told his mother, you know what? My friend has a disease and there's no money to help him. So I want to do something. His mother said, okay, how about a bake sale? He went, nah. Okay, how about let's sell lemonade? No, I really want to do something that's going to make a difference. He said, I know what I want to do. I want to write a book. And he sat down with all of his markers and he wrote a book called Chocolate Bar. Chocolate Bar, he said, means awesome. He wrote this book about his friend, and he said, Mom, I want to sell this book. So he went to the school with his parents, and the parents said, here's what my son would like to do to raise some money. And so the next event they had, Dylan went to the event with Jonah. They sold out of their books and raised $5,000. Isn't that cool? Dylan went home and said, that is not enough. We need to raise more money. So he got somebody interested from the community at the PTA where they were meeting, and somebody in the community said, well, how much do you want to raise? You want to raise $20,000 or $15,000 or how much? He said, I want to raise $1 million. Everybody went, well, maybe not. I don't think so. How about $25,000 to start? He said, I will raise $1 million. So he found somebody in the local newspaper who would write a story about it, about the book and about Jonah and all that was going on. Then, after the story came out, a bunch of the folks in the neighborhood started spreading the word. Pretty soon, everybody knew he was going to raise $1 million. Within the first year, this family raised $1 million. They sold 25,000 of the books within the first 2 months of it being published. This family decided this was a project they had to do. This is both the families. This is a project we had to do. We realized if we really believe in compassion, then we really need to do something about it. We need to move in action. That action started with Dylan. As of today, and that was in 2014, as of today, it's $5 million. The one doctor who was doing the research now has a clinic, and they're close to a cure. After they had raised $1 million, they went to visit a couple of the other families. One of the families said, "You'll have to come to the hospital because my son is in ICU." So they got there, they went in, they greeted the family, and Dylan went up to the boy who was lying with all of the equipment hooked up to him and gave him a hug. The boy was 16 years old. His mother said, "He's been this way for 13 years, in and out of the hospital almost weekly. He just has never really had a life." And Dylan noticed there were 3 copies of his book sitting on the table. Well, after they left, they talked about how much more they had to raise so that nobody had to be like this. Unfortunately, that boy passed away that day. So they continued raising the money. And one of the things this family, Dylan, said was, "I want to tell people that you can make a difference in the world anytime you want." Do you hear that? There's no fear. That's a child who hasn't been conditioned out of his innocence. That's a child who says, "I can make a difference even if everybody else can't." And he went and enlisted as many people as he could. Take a breath. It's quite a story, isn't it? That's what I want to talk about today. I want to blow your mind from this standpoint. If we don't have more compassion and kindness on this planet, we will extinct ourselves. Plain and simple. If you want to know the science, you come talk to me because I've got thousands of reports. And the timeline for this is getting shorter and shorter. If the science is correct at this moment, and science changes a lot, the timeline is this. Let me digress for a second. In India, for the last 3 weeks, the temperatures have been off the charts, record-setting. A friend of mine's mother lives in Delhi. She's 93 years old. Air conditioning is only available to the elite class. Everybody else has to lay under trees or find water somehow. Water's in short supply. The temperatures have gone up to the point to where the Himalayas, which furnishes a lot of the water for Asia, the snows are not as deep as they used to be. There's not as much water in the lakes and in the reservoirs and all. As a result, there's not enough drinking water to go around. So it's being rationed. The temperatures on average over the last couple of weeks fluctuate between 109 and 120. It's nearly impossible to breathe at 120 because your lungs begin to burn. In 2025, if we don't do something about this, the rest of the world will experience this. We have seen temperatures in Death Valley that have broken records since records have been kept. Compassion is important. Compassion is important. Kindness is important. And this idea of paying it forward, and like I've had people do, I've gone in through a drive-in and they paid for my meal, whatever, ahead, and I get there and that's wonderful. And then it's me to do the same thing. That's fine, but that's trickled down. We need a lot more than that. We need kindness so bad that people are afraid to go into restaurants, they're afraid to go into public venues, they're afraid to go to schools, they're afraid to go almost anywhere. Why? Because we're killing each other. We're killing each other at rates unheard of. That's just sad to begin with, and stupid. Because what Ernest Holmes taught is there's only one power in the universe. It's God. It's the infinite. And that power created all of us, every single person on the planet, every animal on the planet. And if God created all of us, and we're made in the image and likeness of that infinite being, what the hell are we doing? It's getting crazier and crazier. And what it says is, we need to start paying attention. We need to start paying attention to who we are in this world. Are you that or something else? Are you... A survey that I read not too long ago of hospice caretakers. The survey was done in 2018. And what they were doing was they were asking, what's your last wish? So they did a survey to find out what the hospice caretakers found out. What they found out was the large majority of people said, I really wish that I had been true to myself and lived my life from authenticity. That's at the end of life. What if we say that right now? True to yourself. The truth of who you are is you are a compassionate being. We know people are compassionate. When we lived in San Francisco, every so often we'd hear of somebody jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge, right? I mean, so many. What's ironic is that somebody stands there ready to kill themselves, and the cars are going by, and dozens of cars stop, and people get out and run to save them. Why? Because we're connected. We know, we feel, we're sensitive, we're empathetic. That's who we are as beings. We can make a difference on this planet. We need to set not only our minds in action, but first we need to set our heart in action. If all we do is come from the mind, then all we'll have is what we've got. I read a book last week. The book was written by a Russian ophthalmologist, and that group that he was taking it in 2012, was going to India and Tibet. And one of the things that he said in the book was, let me digress back for a second. So what they had done while they were in Russia is they did a study of eyes. And they figured out there's like 30 archetype eyes. And then they took pictures and had them sent to them in Russia of the eyes that are on the monasteries in India and in Tibet. And they took those eyes and they put it into a computer system and did a mathematical equation to figure out how many people out of the 33 have those eyes. The answer was nobody. What do those eyes really mean? So they started to work on that. They came up with, not only from just the analysis of the eyes, they came up with what a person looked like who had those eyes. Didn't look like anybody that we know. In fact, it actually looks like one of the gray aliens. Large head, big eyes. Why do I say this? It's interesting that when they took this picture to Tibet and India, to the Dalai Lama, or not the Dalai Lama, but the Lamas, and to the spiritual leaders, the Hindus, when they would pull the picture out and set it down, they would go, "Where did you get that?" And he would say, "Why?" That is a master who is in samadhi, which is a high state of meditation in which the eyes are open but the body's completely not operating anymore. No heartbeat, no breath, no vitals, none. Samadhi. Mahasamadhi is when you pass through samadhi into and never come back. Well, he figured out by interviewing these lamas that there are a whole bunch of lamas who are actually doing this, who are in samadhi in the caves in the Himalayas, which we've known for a long time. One of the professors at the University of Delhi when shown the picture, said, "Do you know that this is a human civilization that went extinct 10 million years ago?" How do you know that? How do you figure this out? Well, he said, this is what the masters have passed down from generation to generation, from master to master. He said, we've had 4 civilizations on this planet. They all went extinct. And he said, guess what? A lot of the reasons they went extinct are the same reasons that we're going to go extinct if we don't do something different, including they had amazing technology. Do we have amazing technology? Just in the last 100 years, technology's gone off the chart. We now have quantum computers that do calculations that we can't even imagine how fast they're doing the calculations. And when you think about it, a quantum is the smallest potential particle, because it's not even a particle. It's not even a particle. So it's actually nothing but a force. May the force be with you. I watched a Star Wars thing the other night, and they were saying, the force be with you, the force be with me. I am the force be with me. And they kept chanting that as they were going into battle. Because the force is what's going on. That force is that quantum field, which is causing computers to calculate at the speed almost of light. Which reminds me that Bill Gates once told us in 1983 that because technology was so amazing that the efficiency of the worker was going to skyrocket and there'd be nearly no paper on the planet. Really? I don't know about you, but I got reams of paper at home. Everything I see, I somehow have to print so I can feel it. And the world is now cutting down trees at staggering rates. Wow. This is all sad, and one of the saddest parts about this is we don't have compassion for our own self. And unless we get compassion for our own self and we have kindness for our own self, how are we going to change the world? You can't change it by just preaching it. That's mind. You have to be living it. You have to have compassion for everybody. When you look in anybody's eyes, you need to hear what's going on with them. You can't do that if your mind is judging. You can't do that if you're sitting there thinking of what you're going to reply to. How many of you have had those discussions because we've got this division going on? How many of you have had that discussion where you're discussing with somebody a completely opposite view and you're preparing what you're going to say while they're saying what they want you to hear? How does that work? Doesn't work very well. Because what everybody wants is to be heard. And the sickness that we have in this country is we have to be right. And that will kill us all at some point. And then whoever's left can say, I was right. And the next generation will have a twilight zone, and that will be the person who starts it. We need to give ourselves first some kindness. You know, we learned a lot of things as children and growing up, and those experiences have both given us value and tainted our perceptions. We think the world is all good. I know in New Thought there's an awful lot of people that say the world is all good. I'm sorry, it's not. It's just not. But, as Ernest Holmes said, what we're doing is we're turning away from that to look at what we want to create and focusing on that. Because the more we focus on that, the less this is going to start showing up. But he's not saying there isn't evil in the world. If there's one power in the universe and that power created this planet and this universe, created it 14 roughly billion years ago, this planet has been about 4 billion years in existence, and human beings are 1/100th of 4 billion years on the planet so far. That's a really tiny little number. And look at what we've done in that short period of time. It's amazing. Wars began way back. We now have records of wars that began 1,400 years before Christ. We now have records of tribes that were fighting 200,000 years ago. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Why is that so? I don't know. I guess we're going to have to be like Pinocchio and ask the Creator. But what we can do is focus on what we've got to deal with right now. Take a breath. That's a lot of information very quickly, I know. Here's the good news. The good news is we can change the world. And everybody that's in this room right now, if you multiply yourself by 1,000 people, that's amazing, because that number can start a snowball of compassion and kindness throughout the world. We teach here at the Center for Spiritual Living, we teach the tools to help us understand what's going on in our mind and our ego. We teach that you need to be heart-centered. You need, however, to have the experience. Just hearing it's not enough. Having had an experience of dying and coming back, that was an experience that changed my entire life. You don't have to die and then come back. I promise you, you don't. You can have that same experience. Because when you're in a conversation, if you undefend your heart and open up, you open the door for that experience to take place. If you open up your heart and let your mind go quiet, you open the door for that experience. You have the power to change just like Dylan did. He didn't just affect Jonah. He affected all the others that had that disease, and all the doctors that began working on it, and all the nurses that began to work on it, and all the families that were involved in it, and all the families that talked to the news and talked to the media. And that's how the world changes. And it changed because Jonah was authentic. He was compassionate. He was caring. He was kind. That's who we all are. We're all that. Let's take this as an example and change the world. Are you ready for that? Then I say, change yourself and the world will change. And then we'll all benefit. So will the grandkids and great-grandkids. So will the generations to come that produce technology that just will amaze us today, like my grandmother was about the telephone. You actually talk into this? I don't see anybody. Or when you were at Disneyland, remember? And you go in and you sit in the booth and you could see somebody while you were talking to them on the phone. That was 1960. Yeah, life can change dramatically through compassion and kindness. Take a breath. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to start taking a look at yourself and all those judgments about yourself that are just wasting time. All those thoughts that you have about not being good enough or whatever they are, forget it. Whenever they come up, take a breath, step aside, and then put your eyes on where you're going, which is changing the world. And as you're changing yourself, that world's changing. Bless you, and thank you for listening.
Wow. Do you have goosebumps? Or is it cold in here? Thank you, Larry. So one of the, would our prosperity receivers please come forward? One of the things that we can do, it's a little thing, but we can support the festival for Ukraine. If we raise like $20,000, it goes to help the refugees. They're so much needed. Their country is being destroyed. So that's one, and this came from two teachers that said, I want to put this festival on, and have contacted all of the musicians and the dancers, and it's going to be an amazing day. You don't even have to come and stay all day. You don't even have to come. Buy a ticket. Give it to somebody. It'll be fun. But you don't have to stay all day. Just buy your tickets, and you can get them in the bookstore. You can pay cash or write a check, and then we actually save 3% more that goes to Ukraine. And we'll have your name down. Everybody's going to get a little bracelet like you get in the hospital, so when you come in, you'll know you've already paid. You'll be on the paid list. So it's going to be an amazing day. And I love the fact that Cora came to me and said, can we do it here so we can do something to help? So that's what the festival is about, something we can help. Okay, whatever is your gift today, I just want to give thanks. Just close your eyes for one moment. Just realize we can never outgive God. We give from that abundance that we have. And then as we give, more is given to us. I declare that each person here is prosperous and prospering. Each person here is a money magnet. Spirit knows that. So we give from that abundance that we are. And I bless the gift and the giver. And so I let it be. And so it is. Thank you. Did you have something you wanted to say? Here is Skip Olson. He is on our leadership team.
Yes. Actually, I wasn't supposed to speak today. I was going to speak next week, and Mary Jean texted me this morning and asked me if I would speak. So I don't have anything prepared for you, so I'm just going to speak off the top of my head and from my heart. And I just want to talk to us about our spiritual community. You know, this is our house. This is our spiritual house, and each one of us, this is our spiritual family. And the world needs us more now than it's ever needed us. So what I ask people is to participate in our community here. And a lot of us here are automatic givers. So when you see the plate pass by and somebody doesn't put any money in, a lot of times, you know, we're just giving every month through a credit card or other ways. And, you know, churches have taken a big hit here lately because with COVID and everything, it's been very difficult. A lot of our people have not come back yet. Thank goodness we're getting a lot of new people. So, you know, all of us need to step up and support our community and support our church. This is our family. You know, we've got a big project going on. We're going to do the parking lot out there. It's something that needs to be done. It's needed to be done for several years, but it's going to be over $50,000 to do that. So, and we just have to do it. So we're asking everybody just to be here with us and support us. Whatever you can give is appreciated. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's just the act of giving. This is actually our philosophy. The more we give, the more we get. So we have to live it. And that's all of us. So I just, and you know, Mary Jean and Larry, they're our spiritual leaders. But this church is ours. It belongs to all of us. We own it. It's our spiritual home. So we have to support it like we would our home. So, you know, they're the shepherds, we're the flock. So let's get the flock going around here, okay? So we love you guys.
Thank you, Skip. And now for Emerson.
Oh. We was in Brazil, right? Before we going out to Argentina. Argentina. Let's go Argentina. We're gonna let's do a tango. You like tango? Oh. Muy bien. I feel in home now. Okay, that song is called Tinta Roja. I hope you enjoy. Paredón, tinta roja en el gris del ayer, tu emoción de ladrillo feliz, sobre mi callejón, con un borrón, pintó la esquina, y el botón que en el ancho de la noche puso el filo de la ronda como un broche, y aquel buzón carmín, y aquel fondín donde lloraba el Tano, un rubio amor lejano que mojaba con bombín ¿Dónde estará mi arrabal? ¿Quién se robó mi niñez? ¿En qué rincón, luna mía, volcás como entonces tu clara alegría? Veredas que yo pisé, malevos que ya no son. Bajo tu cielo de raso, trasnocha un pedazo de mi corazón. Paredón, tinta roja en el gris del ayer, borbotón de mi sangre infeliz que vertió en el malvón de aquel balcón que la escondía. Yo no sé si fue el negro de mis penas o fue el rojo de tus venas mi sangría, porque llegó y se fue tras el carmín y el grifondín lejano donde lloraba el Tano. Sus nostalgias de bombín. ¿Dónde estará mi arrabal? ¿Quién se robó mi niñez? ¿En qué rincón, luna mía, volcás como entonces tu clara alegría? Veredas que yo pisé, malevos que ya no son. Bajo tu cielo de raso, trasnocha un pedazo de mi corazón.
You know, along with singing, I want to thank everybody who came last week to our Memorial Day picnic that we had at our house. And I want to thank Emerson for having the concert. And I want to thank Tim Sullivan, who did part of a concert. It was fabulous. And a lot of you got to see our remodeled house. I'm glad about that. Yeah. Also, you know, one of the things you may not know about Emerson, not only does he sing, but he also came over and I hired him to clean out our garage. He took everything out. We reorganized it and put it back in. He's fast. He's strong. He's amazing. So it's hard to find good help. I just have to say, I've hired him twice to come and do things. And it's like, he's amazing. And Tracy and David have hired him now. Yeah, he's busy tomorrow because they used him Saturday. They're using him tomorrow. It's really, I just had to tell you that because I know people come to me all the time and go, I need help. And it's like, I can't help you, but we now know Emerson can. And he's also helped clean out the whole basement here and this whole center as his volunteer work. So when I have him come over, I pay him because I'm so grateful. So thank you, Emerson. Thank you. You needed to know that. So I know today, Larry and I are going to go out and see Javier Mendoza. I guess we're in a Spanish mode today. He's at Defiance Ridge Vineyard from 1 to 4. If anybody wants to join us out there. Yeah. Okay, we're going to pray. Just close your eyes for one moment and just feel that power and compassion and love and kindness that you are. Know that you are that power and presence of Spirit. And right now we enter into this cathedral in the mountains of Tibet. And we open up our hearts to that message. The power and presence of Spirit is our very life. And we give thanks for all the miracles happening right now. If there's somebody in your life you would like a prayer for, call out their name now. I want to put Anna Thomas in prayer. She may be ending her this life experience. And I want to put Ann Gavin in prayer. Both of them have been long-term members here. And now I want to put you in prayer. Call out your name, Mary Jean. Knowing that that power and presence of Spirit is your very life. Whatever needs to be done through you, as you, is now being activated. Whatever you can do to assist other people and to assist yourself in growing in love and compassion, I know that it's done. There's a law of mind that says yes. So accepting miracles, accepting healings. I give thanks for this day we've had together, for the learning, for the opportunity to grow and expand, to love ourselves more, to be more. I bless each one of us to our highest and greatest good. And so I let it be. And so it is. Thank you. And now, closing song. Okay. Emerson.
Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I'm gonna play. Okay, we went to Brazil, we went to Argentina, and now let's go my home. This is an original song. That song is called Cumbia del Mar. And I wrote the song thanks to Evie, because she pushed me to write that song. I remember one day she asked me for make a video song with me. She said, you need video song. And I said, I don't know what song. And I start to do like that, and I start to sing the intro you're gonna hear in a minute. And I stop and I say, okay, no más. And she have the video, she make a video. But later, she told me, she said, you need continue this song. I think I feel something in the song. And I said, I don't know, it's maybe silly song. She said, no, you need continue. And she pushed me a lot. And one day I said, okay, I think I need. And I started to wrote the song. And this is the song I wrote thanks to Evie. And it's called Cumbia del Mar. Also, I have a promotion today. Oh yeah, I have a promotion today. You can go to my website, you can download the lyrics for $20. Oh yeah, and you know, I'm gonna give you free a set of coasters by Evie Maltzman. All right. Free. Isn't that good? Okay, I'm kidding. I just Cumbia del Mar. Baila, bailame esta cumbia al son del mar. Baila, bailame esta cumbia al son del mar. Y mueve tus caderas, y mueve tus caderas, y baila al son del mar. Viento que vienes de la montaña, cura mis dolores, sana mis entrañas. Luna que brillas entre los mares, calma mis angustias, mengua mis pesares. Y dile que la quiero, y dile que la espero. Y baila, 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 baila al son del mar. Agua salada, cumbia del mar, ola de espuma, arena, cristal, palma de coco, hierba con sal, noches de barra, de Navidad. Todos estamos hechos de agua, somos sentimiento y una misma raza. Todos venimos de las estrellas, somos universo en una misma casa. Y mueve tus caderas, y mueve tus caderas. Y baila, 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 baila al son del mar. ¡Hey! Y agua salada, cumbia del mar, ola de espuma, arena, cristal, palma de coco, hierba con sal, noches de barra, de Navidad. Baila al son del mar y baila al son del mar y baila, 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 baila al son del mar. Ragadán, ¡olé! Cumbia del mar.
Thank you, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. Our closing affirmation is on our bulletin. We do have new bulletins out there. Is it on the screen going to be? No. Okay. So I'll just read it to you, and then we'll say it together. Today, I choose to see the divine everywhere. That's easy. Let's say it together. Today, I choose to see the divine everywhere. God bless you. Have a wonderful